guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show. This is going to be the What's on My Pull List section this week. There's probably not going to be a video this week for new stuff into the store. It's been another challenging week, to say the least, in the world of Comic Land. We were supposed to have 4 large boxes arrive as part of our delivery. Each box has sort of 2 boxes within it. They're giving it extra protection these days, which is great to see. But one of our boxes didn't arrive. It ended up in Angry Cherry in Derry, and we're still waiting for it. We were informed of this on Monday, was told it would be with us Tuesday, was told it would be with us Wednesday, was told it would be with us Thursday. We're still waiting for it to arrive, and predominantly what was in that 2 boxes within a box was all graphic novels, and there was some great stuff due this week. So no doubt there'll be a bumper video next week to show off the stuff that should have arrived this week, as well as what arrives next week. So just keep an eye out for that. I might throw in an extra video up just with, we did receive back a batch of CGCs. These are all ones for sale in the store. There is 75 off at the moment as well, predominantly for customers, and they're all in the schedule for grading stage. So they've all been received in London. They're all over in the US now. So hopefully it'll not be too long and we'll get some word back on those. But anybody who's submitted to us, I'll obviously let you know when they've returned. So there is that. But yeah, I'll probably put up the wee video on the CGCs. Also, I just put up a new video of previews. I'm going to start doing this every month as well. It can be so hard to keep up with the comic market and to know what titles to go for. And, we do everything we can at the store. We have the previews books there at all times. We have the previews board. We do a previews podcast. But I'm now throwing another one out there as well, just so we can really make sure that you guys don't miss out on anything. So there's going to be maybe a 15 to 20 minute video once a month when the new previews books come in. So with that one, the previews orders are due in 2 weeks. Today is the 9th, so they are due by the 23rd. So anything appeals to you, get in touch with us. Again, the books are always in store, so if you want to pop down and have a wee look, they're all there, good to go. So, but as I say, this section is going to be about taking you through my pull list this week. Some great stuff as always, and tons to look forward to. So undoubtedly my book of this week that I cannot wait for is Nice House on the Lake. This is number 2. So the first issue of this was absolutely spectacular. We have second prints of number 1 actually coming in next week, just in case you've missed out. But this is written by James Tynion IV and art by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. And this is just another level good. Jordi Belair on colours as well deserves a mention. One of the best looking books in the shelves and one of the most interesting, intriguing books in the shelves. Next up we have Carmen. This is number 5 of Guillaume March's sort of fantasy sojourn through the afterlife. I've been very, very praising of this title as well. I can't wait for this to hit trade. I'm going to push the heck out of it because it is a brilliantly told story, absolutely gorgeously illustrated. Has quite Sandman-y vibes to it actually. I think this deserves a much bigger audience than it's found in single issues. So again, I will be pushing that quite a lot when it comes to the graphic novel side of things. Undoubtedly one of the most anticipated this week for all you 80s kids out there and beyond is Masters of the Universe Revelation. So this is a new prequel to the animated series that's going to kick off soon on Netflix that we've been seeing the great trailers for. Kevin Smith is involved in this one as well. Quite a big team on this. You've got Kevin Smith, Rob David, Tim Sheridan, Mindy Lee, Rico Renzi and Darren Bennett. So tons of work going into this one. And again, I think if you're looking forward to the show, this would be a great place to kick things off. Any week with a new issue of Nocterra is a good week. We're up to issue 5 now. Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel, Tomei Moraes, just fantastic, all action, horror, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic. Just has so many great things going for it, not least the art as well. Brilliant world building. Again, this is going to be hitting trade soon. I chatted about it in the previews pod. I think the trade's due in September. So again, if you've missed out on the single issues, trades are on the way for that. Great title. A new one that I'm going to be jumping into is Ordinary Gods. This is a new one from Kyle Higgins, who has done such fantastic work recently on Radiant Black, another title that we pushed quite a lot at the store. And there was actually a rumor at one point this was going to link to it, and he was building his own Higgins verse. But apparently that's turned out to be false. But looking forward to tucking into that regardless. I've heard some really good things. Next up we have the next Batman, Second Son. So this is the 4th issue of this miniseries. It's the last issue of the miniseries. So this is written by John Ridley, art by Travel Foreman. And again, this has been great. It's been a really interesting look at a different kind of Batman coming from a different family. It's obviously coming from the Fox family. Lucius Fox has inherited the Wayne fortune at this point. And as I say, this is the end of this series, but there is going to be a new one launching soon called I Am Batman, which just goes to show that these titles have been really popular and people have been digging it in sort of a fresh perspective. Next up we have the Swamp Thing. Again, any week with a new Swamp Thing issue is always a good week. So Ram V is continuing his great work on Swamp Thing. And he's actually got a different artist with him this time though. John McCrae, one of our own, and Mike Spicer on colours. I've heard some great things about that issue and about a certain character who turns up. Next up on the horror series from Boom Studios is Basilisk #2. So this is Cullen Bunn on writing and Jonas Scharf on art. Enjoyed the first issue. If I was sort of being, if a gun was put to my head right now, I'm not sure I could tell you an awful lot about what it was about. Sort of showing you how much I read. But I remember enjoying it. I'm going to reread the first issue, give the second issue a go. Cullen Bunn is a more than steady hand in the industry. This is actually one from a few weeks back because I didn't have enough copies for myself, but I've been really enjoying this series, so I had to order more in. And this is James Bond, Agent of Spectre, so this is up as far as issue 4. Again, this came out a few weeks ago, but only just getting my copy of the new. Also this week is Commanders in Crisis. We're up to number 10 now of Steve Orlando and David Tinto's independently set superhero series. So this is going to be a 12 issue series in total. The first trade is available, but other trades are of course on the way. I'm also really enjoying Mirka Andolfo's Deep Beyond. This is underwater sci-fi horror. Beautiful art, really well told story. It's Andrea Picardo who is the artist on that one. A new AWA title this week, which is from the team of Frank Cho and Sabine Rich. This is Fight Girls. So again, this is going to be a 5-issue mini, as is always the case with AWA comics. They tend to do your 4-issue minis, 5-issue minis, 6-issue minis. All self-contained stories, which all culminate in that trade coming out at the $10 price point. So any week with a new AWA title, I'm looking forward to. I've just collected everything from that label from the start, and it's been pretty spot on so far. It really is a great week for indie comics. Next up, we've got Firepower. So we're up to issue 13 of Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney's amazing Kung Fu epic. If you were looking at the social media this week, you may see we finally got a framed picture back. We have a big long poster of Firepower, which the artist Chris Samney was nice enough to send to us. He also did a little sketch with a cup of coffee on it. And again, any week with Firepower is a good week. This week we were supposed to receive the trade paperbacks for the previous volume. 13 is the start of a new arc, but again, that's in that delivery that we're still waiting on. So despite Robert Kirkman's best efforts to put out the new trade and single issues on the same week, didn't happen for us. Again, the good stuff continues with Indie, which is Gagger. We're up to number 4. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and Brad Anderson. Again, fantastic series, great science fiction. Just again, we can't specify enough. We talk a lot in store about indie comics and the great stuff from Image and Boom and AWA. And you look at this week, and I mean, I still haven't come across a Marvel title. Maybe that says more about me, I don't know. But even DC, I don't have a lot of DC here in comparison to indie. It just shows the strength of indie comics at the moment. And another great one is Pontek Pichetshote's The Good Asian. So this is the Chinatown set noir. Right up my wheelhouse. Issue 3. We actually have issues 1, 2, and 3 still in the store. Very limited copies though, so recommend jumping on that. Next up, we've got Steve Scrose's Post Americana. This is up to issue 6 now. This is a 7-issue miniseries. This is one of those ones I've actually been collecting from the start, but I haven't read any of it. I've sort of let it build up. I really love Steve Scrose's work, so I'm more than happy to know that I'm going to get something out of this. He did a great one a few years ago with Brian K. Vaughan called We Stand on Guard. So, looks great. I mean, the art is fantastic either way. So, I'll be digging into that once issue 7 comes out. A big one this week undoubtedly is Skybound X, which is celebrating 10 years of Skybound, which is Robert Kirkman's imprint at Image Comics. This is essentially going to be an anthology book that comes out. I think there's going to be 6 of them. And every time you're going to get short stories set within the universe of any Skybound titles. So for example, you might have stuff from Ultra Mega, you might have stuff from Birthright, and obviously in this case the headline story is from Walking Dead. So Yeah, very much looking forward to that. It's hard to believe Skybound has been going for that long. Speaking of The Walking Dead, again, Walking Dead number 18. If you listen to the most recent podcast for reviews, I just went on and on and on, like I do every time, but on and on and on about Walking Dead number 17. Just exceptional storytelling. I just forget how good The Walking Dead is, so I look forward to every new issue that's popping out of that. Next up, we have Wind, so from James Tynion IV and Michael Dialnis. Really enjoying that as well. It's an all-ages fantasy title, very Lord of the Rings / Bone type vibes. I knew we'd get to some Marvel eventually. I'm not all bad, but we have the Immortal Hulk number 48. I have a lot of reading to do. The Immortal Hulk, I've spoke about it before. I've been collecting it, but I was missing a couple of titles or a couple of issues from early on because I gave up my early issues for a customer. But this week, I finally got the issues that I needed, number 11 and number 13. So I can finally tuck into this, and I've promised Keith I'll get reading this before issue 50, which is scheduled to be the last issue. Before that comes out, I'll read through all of Immortal Hulk so we can chat the heck out of it on the podcast. Another one from Kyle Higgins here. This is issue 4 of Ultraman, The Trials of Ultraman. I've enjoyed the Ultraman stuff. You had a series, first of all, which was The Rise of Ultraman. Now it's available in trade, but single issue wise, this is the sequel, The Trials of Ultraman. So digging that so far. Got a new issue of Justice League, which is Brian Michael Bendis, a different artist this time, not David Marquez. This is Steve Pugh, who did a great run on Animal Man, I believe it was, in the New 52. But just as importantly, with Sumit Kumar and Ram V, you've got the Justice League Dark backup stories. I must admit this is slightly concerning. DC started to do monthly releases for a lot of their core titles, and it meant that the artists could be the same each time. Great consistency of storytelling. I have a sneaky feeling they've started to sneak a few issues back into fortnightly, or at least every 3 weeks, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. I maybe wouldn't have noticed so much, except they changed the artist, and that's always a red flag. Next up, we have the last issue of Redemption. So this has been the awesome sort of steampunk western from Mike Deodato Jr. and Christoph Faust, Lee Lockridge on colours. So issue 5 of that. Again, trade will not be far behind, I'm sure. A couple of Scotty Young ones for you now. So we have Extreme Carnage Alpha. This is the kickoff for the series of one-shots for Extreme Carnage. And I always go for the Scotty Young stuff because, well, Vicky always wants the Scotty Young stuff. I'm not too precious about it. So, yeah, cool cover. Looking forward to taking into this. Not sure what to expect. Pre-orders were quite low on it, but then word of mouth seems to be quite strong on it. So a lot of people have jumped onto it late, because of course they have. But I'm looking forward to giving that a go. And then speaking of really cool X-Men, I just gave that away. Really cool Scotty Young covers. We have Scotty Young doing the cover for X-Men #1. So Jerry Dugan has taken over the title. Pepe Larraz on art. And this is spinning out of the events of the recent Planet-Size X-Men. So I'm going to jump back into the X titles and give those a go. I thought they got a little bit convoluted for a while, but some of the good stuff that's happened recently has been really good. So I'm very happy to jump back and give that a go. Back to the wonderful world of DC, and we have Batman. So we're up to issue 110. James Tynion IV on writing duties, of course, and Jorge Jimenez on art. And I'm delighted to say this is continuing to be the same creative team, so hopefully that stays monthly. We can continue to get that great consistency of storytelling. Next up, we have Batman The Adventures Continue Season 2. So we're up to issue 2 of this one. The first issue, of course, brought in the Court of Owls. You had Deadman there. They're bringing in Zatanna with this issue, Nightwing, and of course the Talons and the Court of Owls. So Alan Burnett, Paul Dini on writing, and Ty Templeton on art. One last one to finish off with, and again we have Green Lantern. So we're up to number 4 of this one. This is Jeffrey Thorne on writing and Tom Rainey on art. And again, this is another one I've let build up a little bit. I've heard nothing but good things about this run. It's a slight change from, obviously the more madcap Grant Morrison stuff, which is superb. But this seems to be more straightforward, straight-laced superhero storytelling. I've heard the art is fantastic. So I've let a few issues build up, and I'm going to be giving that a read hopefully this weekend. So that is my pull list this week. Big as ever. No trades, of course, because we're missing so many trades. But yeah, most of, if not all of these, will be available in the store. As ever, just get in touch and we'll get you sorted one way or another. Even if we're out of stock of something, we'll always do our best to get it back in for you. So that's me for today. I'm going to nip off now as I have a very, very big interview to prepare for this evening that I'm really excited about. There's going to be a couple of really cool pods being dropped over the weekend, let's just say, to celebrate our 150th episode. So keep an eye on the podcast network for that. I'll probably drop a few more of the interviews from the archives, if you will, onto YouTube as well. Just so it's out there in another form for whatever suits people best for catching this stuff. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope it proves useful. Hope you've maybe seen a title or two you'd forgotten about. And again, anything you need, just get in touch. So hope you guys are staying safe out there. Take it easy.